Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Engage and Glow. If you don't know me or haven't seen previous videos, my name is Alicia, and my son was nonverbal until he was in second grade. He said a couple words here and there in like first grade off and maybe once in a blue moon every few months, and then you'd never hear it again. And his doctor wanted to diagnose him as echolalia because he would make sounds starting out. He was nonverbal to a point, and then he started making sounds, and he would just be repeating after everything that we did, to the point that she thought he was just having echolalia symptoms. But then eventually he did start producing sounds and words on his own and answering and responding to me. And then we built from that to speaking, answering short, simple questions like yes and no questions, and then showing me names of things. And we would do flashcards and learn names of things. And then we built from that to sentence structure and sentences. And now he is speaking to me in sentences, and he's even asking me questions. And so that is something I used to dream about. I used to dream that he would ask me a question. How do I feel? What do I want to do? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, not just that, but having that back and forth conversation, not just answering a yes and no question. Tell me about your day. These things. These are speech therapy tips I have for you to help, maybe in some way. If what helped us helps you, then I want to share it with you and have that same growth for your own child at home. I have to say, it feels like a miracle sometimes, because he talks to me randomly, and I'm just so proud that we're here, and that I know what you're thinking, and I know what you like, and you can answer my questions, and we can engage back and forth. And he does it spontaneously on his own. Like, back when he was nonverbal, I never thought I would see the day. But I remember there'd be times when we'd be sitting on the couch together, and I would sneeze when we were like just sitting together watching a show, and he'd say, "Bless you," clear as day, perfectly. And I didn't hear it again for like 8 months. Or the first time he said, "I love you," he never said "I love you." He was completely nonverbal, didn't even really make sounds at that point. And every morning I dropped him off to go to my mom's house before work, and it was the morning, and like he was just waving goodbye as I was backing out of the driveway in my car, and he goes, "Bye, love you." He just said "love you," and he took off inside with his little stuffed bunny. And he was like a toddler at that point. And then I just stopped in my tracks. I was like, how do I go to work now? I just heard him say "I love you" for the very first time, and it was very important and emotional for me. And then I didn't hear it again for a very long time. And I was like, well, he's not echolalia. He's not, going to be diagnosed echolalia. He can speak and produce sounds on his own. And I just wanted to prove that to his doctor and show her that he could say things. So I'm like, it didn't matter what he was diagnosed to me. It just mattered what he could do and the skills that I could give him. And in the end, I did have, speech therapy when I was little, and there were some things I remembered from that. And there's also a speech therapist that he's had that I've gotten tips from, and there's books that I've read that I've gotten tips from. And I try to apply all these things, and slowly we have gotten where we are now, where we're speaking in sentences and answering questions and asking me questions and engaging with me. And we still have a lot of room to grow, but we have just come leaps and bounds so far from where we started. And I want to share with you guys, there's 20 tips of what I want to share with you, but just for the purpose of the length of the video, because I can talk a lot, here's 10 tips on how to help your child grow from nonverbal to speaking in sentences. Okay, so I had to take a little break, go pick up kiddos from school, all the things, all the mom things, and now I can finish this video. I have a list here. I wrote, my mom brain A list so that I wouldn't kind of get out of order or forget things. These are not in any specific order on importance, because I think all of them are important in different ways, but I can't really measure, like, reading versus, saying it again on themselves, like prompting to say something. Like, I feel like that's just as important as the other. Like, there's no measuring these. They're just, here's 10 of the 20 tips for part 1, and then I can make a part 2 later on the other 10 tips out of the 20. So I wanted to start by just putting yourself in their shoes. Imagine that you're in another country, And let's say that you go to Mexico and you don't speak Spanish. And let's say that, oh, from the little bit of Spanish I did take in high school, I remember the word comida means food. So if they were like, talking really fast, and then all of a sudden I heard comida, I thought I heard it for a second, but I can't tell, and I don't know everything else I said about it. Like, could have said anything about it. I'm not really sure. So I'm just kind of staring at them blankly, like, I think I heard you. I don't know what you're saying. What? Just imagine feeling that way and treat your child that has a speech and language impairment like a foreigner that doesn't speak English, because they don't. They are a little tiny adorable foreigner that can't speak English, and they should be treated with the same respect. Um, you would never feel a certain way towards someone that couldn't speak English. You would try your best to like show them a picture or communicate knowing that there's a barrier. And just first put yourself in their shoes and imagine that they're a little foreigner that needs a little bit of help because they don't speak English. And then two, also, if you guys have you ever played the game Mad Gab? Like, it's so fun. I can literally laugh for hours with my family just speaking gibberish, and like it's so funny because if you play Mad Gab, or if you haven't seen it, it's that commercial where the guy is like holding the card going "I mole of machine," and he can't understand what he's saying, and he's saying it really fast, and you can hear him clear as day saying "I'm a love machine, I'm a love machine," but he can't hear that he's saying it. He's like, "What am I saying? I'm speaking gibberish. I have no idea what I'm saying." But then it takes him a minute and he catches on, he's saying, "I'm a love machine." And that's how it is for your child, because these words they've never heard before, and they don't know that, chair means chair. Like, they have to assign value to that word before it means something to them and they can remember it. So until then, they feel like they're just speaking gibberish like Mad Gab, I imagine. So, first tip based on those things is to slow down and enunciate. Slow down and enunciate the words, because it's just going to help anybody understand better. If you're speaking too fast, obviously I'm not going to catch it. And I would say enunciate, so that, people tend to speak with a lot of slang, and so they can say hello in a million different ways, and your child's trying to just learn one way and you're confusing them. So enunciate, say it the same way each time, and really watch your pitch, because sometimes, like when we say questions, we can go hello, like hello, or we can go hello, like it's different, your pitch, and having the higher pitch at the end of a question. And so yes, say it the same way, because that's the way that your child will imitate it and learn it consistently. So that's number one. Okay, tip number two, I'd say I probably have done this more than any of these other tips, and it's my habit to do it all the time. And then, like, I even do it with my daughter and other people that, like, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, I'm like, I don't mean to do this, but I do it. But my son, whenever he is, like, copying me or trying to say something, I will tell him, watch my mouth, watch how I form the word with my mouth and how I'm pronouncing it, because that's your problem, is that you're saying it, but you're like looking all over the place instead of at me when I'm talking, because that is an issue with a lot of kids that's on the spectrum. Eye contact. And I don't need him to watch my eyes, watch my mouth and watch how I form the word with my teeth and with my tongue and everything, so he can form it correctly. And oh my gosh, like night and day different. It is a game changer. Just watch my mouth. It's so simple. And a lot of people do that and they're like, oh yeah, of course. But then there might be some people out there that just don't think about it. Um, Even like the ABC cards that they have for learning letter sounds, they have the picture cards now. They didn't back when my son was little and nonverbal. That wasn't a thing back then, at least that I heard of. There's so many more resources out there now. But now they have like the flashcards or the posters that you can hang up on your wall, that's like with the A saying ah, and there's a picture of someone's mouth going ah. That's the picture with the A sound, and that's wonderful. But that's what we have always done, is watch my mouth. So tip number one, slow down, enunciate. Tip number two, watch my mouth so you can form it yourself correctly. And that's going to take me into tip number three, repeat. You're going to repeat everything I say that I want you to learn. So of course, I'm not going to have them repeat a giant sentence when they're first learning, and you want them to repeat, what they will retain. Don't throw too much at them. But like if we're walking around the house and we're doing things and we're cooking or we're cleaning together, I would say, what's this? And I'm holding up the milk jug. milk, milk. And we're just naming objects around the house at this point. But if you do it every day, he's going to retain it. And so I remember when we were learning letters A through Z, um, it took him 4 days to learn the letter A. Like, I would put the flashcard of the letter A on my fridge. I put it on my front door. I put it, we had a little dry erase board in the kitchen where like our command center was, and I put it there. And so anytime we walk by it, what's this letter? When we leave the house, it's on by the door. What's this letter? When we're getting into the fridge, what's this letter? And eventually, after 4 days, he remembered its name is A, and it says A, and he remembered that. But it took 4 days, and each time we did this, he retained it more and more and more. So, it's just some kiddos, like whenever they have a learning disability, they might take a little bit longer to catch on, and sometimes they just need to see it. Like, they need to see, like, there's different learning styles. Like, you can hear it and you can say it, but sometimes you need to write it and you need to see it like written down visually. Like, there's different learning styles, so appeal to as many of those senses as possible, of course, but always have him repeat it. When he sees it, he needs to say it himself and repeat it and connect those dots together in his brain and connect the receptive language with the expressive language together. And that would be, the best way he can connect it and have his, like, it's like whenever you don't know the code or the password to your phone, someone asks you what's the password to your phone, you don't know, and then you hand them the phone. They hand you your phone and you automatically just type it in because your muscle memory just has it. You eventually just have that into your DNA of your muscle memory. It's just there. The next thing we said, slow down, repeat, watch my mouth. Slow down, enunciate, watch my mouth, repeat. And then next would be mirror. Like, even if it's not catching on to him when he's watching your mouth, or they are watching your mouth and doing these things, it is still frustrating. Get a little mirror and just have them, turn it around and, watch themselves, watch their own mouth form this word. So he's practicing in the mirror. And, well, I mean, it's good because then he can like also learn his features. And I think a mirror is a great thing for any child to use to learn about themselves and self-awareness. But watch my mouth in the mirror, or watching his own mouth in the mirror, is going to show him what it looks like when he's forming these words. Okay, number 5 kind of goes along with repeat, but in a different way. I don't want you to repeat a specific word, like just, milk or whatever we're learning. This is prompting, but I want you to prompt them when they want your attention, when they want something, when they need something. Whenever they are coming to you and they're pointing at something, or if they are leading you, dragging you to something, or if they want food and they're doing a sign for food or showing that they're hungry or whining, if there's something that they're trying to reach out to you for, then prompt them in that moment. Use that teachable moment and prompt them to say it, and then make them learn to use their words to meet their needs. Because it's not just, okay, in this moment where we're like doing flashcards, repeat. It's not just repeat. This is using that teachable moment to make sure that they are connecting, that they need to use their language to get something from you. So prompting them in those moments when they are like needing help. Like my son, he'll say, help me. And for a long time, we just learned the phrase, help me. And it was wonderful. But now we have built on it. I don't want him to just say, help me. I want him to, can you help me, please? And then, that's a sentence that he was starting to say, building off help me. But then we built off of that. And like, if he is wanting a certain thing, like it's on top of the fridge, then can you hand me this? Can you get me the cereal? So it might not be a full sentence at first. It's just going to say, might be help me. And then it might be cereal. Like you're using the moment to say cereal. He needs to say cereal to you to get it. Because if he's nonverbal and he's not wanting to use his language whatsoever to communicate with you, that is the moment that you need to use it the most, to prompt him in those teachable moments when he's reaching out to you for something or showing interest in something. So prompting in those specific moments is what would be my next tip. Or even, building off of that further, put things that he wants every day out of his reach. Make sure that he has to ask you for help, or he has to ask you for things, or, you know what I mean? Like, he has to come to you for help anyways to get something. I would hope to God that he's not going to scale the fridge to get something off the fridge if you put it up high. But like if you put it in a little lockbox, or like just slightly out of his, or just not in its normal spot where he would normally go to get something, like if there's a certain toy or book that he reads every night, if it's not where he normally keeps it, he has to come to you for help to get that toy. And it's just going to create that teachable moment where he's going to come to you and need something. So, number 6, I'm going to say flashcards, of course, flashcards or labeling. So flashcards are wonderful because it is that fast repetitive memory skills. And so once they're at the point where it's not taking them 4 days to learn one thing and they've kind of caught on to the situation and what they need to do, I would say flashcards are amazing because no matter what you're learning, it's going to bring that into your active learning memory right in that moment where it's like it's pulled forward very quickly. And it's like once you can do it, it's like that's why they did those timed tests for spelling and for subtraction and multiplication. When you were growing up, you'd get that timed test with all the bubbles and you'd have to fill in as many as you can in less than a minute because it's bringing that forth and letting you have access to that quicker and quicker and quicker. And flashcards, they're an amazing effective tool to do that. I use them in every single thing I've ever done, not just the nursing program and learning all these medical terms I've never heard of, but flashcards for him has been amazing. We use them you could use them kind of the same way if you label everything in your house, because you want him to understand the names of things. You're trying to expand his vocabulary so he can have the words to speak to you with the words. If he doesn't have the words, he can't use them. He has to have them first. So you're trying to give him the words and the vocabulary, and you're like, where do I start? There's so many words we need to know. You could start with things around your house. You could start with his favorite toys. You could start with the things in the bathroom that he needs to use every single day. You could start with all the cleaning things, or things inside the car, things that you see at the park, or things that you see around the store. In your every single day life, you are using things, the things that you use the most, the things he needs to learn the most, obviously, because it's the functionality. But you could literally get a pack of flashcards and like, okay, for this entire 2 weeks or this entire month, however long he needs to, we're going to do this pack of animal flashcards. And then once he masters it, then we're going to move on to food flashcards. We can print them off the computer. You can get a book from your library for free and just open it and just quiz him on all the fruits on every single page and all the vegetables on every single page. So there's a million, you don't have to use cards to be flashcards. It's kind of the same concept. If you have a book, just open it. And we used to do that. Hold on, it's in one of these. It's in the geography one. Let me pull this out. This is literally what we used to do. This is our children's encyclopedia. We used to just sit down and we would open it. And here is the food pyramid with all the kinds of food. And so we would just quiz, just tell me the name of every single food on this page. Tell me the name of every single item on this page. Tell me the name of, like, we even have like the continents in here now. We use this still for so much stuff. But you can flip to it and like name every single animal that you know on this page, and name every single, like, oh gosh, there's a bunch of different gemstones. Like, we haven't got that far yet. But there's like so many different flashcards you can order off Amazon. You can print them off of Teachers Pay Teachers. You could download them off Etsy and print them. You could just literally get a book. And if you're wanting to learn food names, get a book from your library about food and just literally open it to a page and have him list off everything he can until he masters that page, and then move on to the next one. It's not going to take very long. When they do it every single day, it's going to be in that long-term memory. So you're going to go from having, even if you just do this for a month and he masters, see how much he can master in a month, I promise you he will have more language and vocabulary to use when he's speaking to you. That's just what he needs, is just to be able to place, the language to a picture of an item. And, you can start with all those basic things. He needs to have that vocabulary first. So, flashcards. You could go through your house and label everything in your house. But one thing that I did to learn household items, my map just fell down. One thing I did to learn names of household items, I printed off cards of things around the house, of like kitchen, dining table, chair, and all the things in your bedroom. It's just literally a list of cards. I think I could put a picture of it up here. And we used it as a cleaning game. I took him to the dollar store, and he picked out his own spray bottle. It was blue, and he was so excited because it was miniature. And I always have my big spray bottle when I'm going around the house cleaning and lysoling. So I got him his little miniature blue spray bottle so he could go around with me and clean. And I would like, oh, flash the cards and like, go clean this. Now go spray this. Now go spray this. And he'll get his little tiny towel. It was like a Mickey Mouse towel that he picked out at the dollar store. A Mickey Mouse towel with his little blue squirt bottle, and he would go around cleaning all these little things. And if I said it, he'd go clean it. And it was a game, and he was cleaning and doing chores, but it was fun. And he's learning the names of household objects that way. So you can turn it into a game and have fun with it. But yes, it's still flashcards. So because we did just talk about the encyclopedia book, that's going to segue into my next one is reading books. Obviously, like even if your child isn't able to read yet, you reading aloud to them, they're going to get that repetition of all those words that they're going to be able to learn eventually. Like they're having exposure to those words, and they're being exposed to what they look like and the images and the text. And it's just exposure, and it's always helpful, even if they're not reading it. And even if like they only recognize one of the words, like you can quiz them. And when you're opening the book, quiz them, like count everything on this page and learn the numbers, and tell me everything on the page that you know. Or when you're learning the stories, like you can talk about emotions and the pictures of the people's faces on the page. Like reading enhances so many things. There are studies that show that I had to do papers on in the nursing program that show how reading is the single most effective way to have a healthy brain. It is the single most effective way to keep your brain young and keep it from aging. There are studies that show that people that have the gene for Alzheimer's, just by reading a little bit every day, the people that have the gene that did not read every day got Alzheimer's pretty quick, whereas the people that did read every day that have the Alzheimer's gene, they didn't get it. Even though they have the gene for Alzheimer's, they didn't have effects from it until later on in life. They got to be a lot older before they had symptoms of Alzheimer's, whereas people that didn't read had it show up much earlier in life. That was one of the studies I remember doing in the nursing program. I did a paper over it, and I remember just that reading and exercise are the two most effective ways to have a healthy brain, and it's going to help your child learn it any way possible. So reading is the most effective thing you could do to help yourself and your child have a healthy brain. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. It's raining outside. Next point would be interest-led learning. I would say follow their interests, because if they're engaged in it and they like it, of course they're going to participate more. And my son, when we were first learning sight words, we used Bendy and SpongeBob and Sonic. We would say Bendy is happy, Bendy is mad, Bendy is scared, Bendy is happy. We would use these to use the sight words, the connecting words, the is, are, am. We would just insert them into it while we were learning sight words to build sentences. And we would I had a Bendy coloring book, and he would write me sentences in the front of the coloring book, and we would talk about the story every single day. So just having those things that that they're interested in will help them be a lot more engaged. So interest-led learning, always try to, even if it's we were learning numbers, and then so I got blank index cards and Bendy stickers, and I just put a Bendy sticker on each card just to make it Bendy-ish, and we learn numbers. So yeah, make it more into something that they like in some way possible, and they will be more engaged and want to learn. Two tips kind of go together. One is whisper in my ear, because I remember being young and having to be in speech therapy and not wanting to read in front of everybody in class when I feel like I couldn't pronounce my S's correctly. And for Hayden, I feel like he, around new people, doesn't want to speak and talk all the time. And so when he was first starting to speak and didn't want to talk in front of people, he would whisper in my ear. He would come up and whisper in my ear, and then he would talk and tell me what he's feeling. So that's a little tip. If it's a confidence issue, it could be something helpful. Even if you're at home, whisper in my ear. It's always helpful. And number 10 would be, of course, building the confidence. So you're wanting to do all these things at home when he can build his confidence and hear his own voice out loud and not be afraid to, and not have, other people staring at him, wanting him to perform this certain way. You want him to do it in a safe, comfortable space where he can build up his confidence, and then go out into the world and then do it, where you're proud. Show your voice loud and proud. And make sure you're having that learning time in a comfortable space at home so that he can build up confidence first. So those are my 10 tips. 1, slow down, enunciate. 2, watch my mouth. 3, repeat. 4, use a mirror and let him watch his own mouth. 5, prompting him in the times when he needs something from you, using those teachable moments and prompting him. 6, flashcards, or you can label everything in your house, or you could use flashcards. 7, reading. Reading is amazing. It's phenomenal. It's exposure. 8, interest-led learning. Always use their interest in anything that you do. 9, building confidence. 9 was whisper in my ear. 10's building confidence, but they're kind of on the same wavelength there. So there you have it. There's the first 10 tips. I have another video of 10 more tips, and I also have a couple other speech therapy videos of activities we're doing right now that have been really fun and engaging and helpful with we're learning parts of speech, nouns and verbs and adjectives and all those things, and I found a way to do it. So it's so fun. Stay tuned for some of those videos for part 2 of this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great day.